Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and we're joined by Tom Arnold and Derek Bittner to talk about the HD remake of The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, just announced in the most recent Nintendo Direct. Let's get started. So another thing Nintendo announced as part of Nintendo Direct is that they're remaking Wind Waker for the Wii U, in HD graphics, and they're actually changing up the game. And part of that is it's actually getting a new art style, which has turned out to be pretty controversial. Especially considering the original art style was really controversial. So, now you guys both took a look at the screenshots they released of the game, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, I mean, it still looks very similar to Wind Waker, but it seems that they've actually gotten rid of the cell shading, and now it looks like it's more of I don't even fully know how to describe it. I think Derek earlier said it looked like the characters look more like dolls now or action figures. So it looks like, I mean, it's still cartoony, still very bright, but it looks closer to Skyward Sword actually in visuals than it does Wind Waker, I think. And a lot of people are upset about this, and I'm actually not sure myself how to feel about it, but I think it looks good. Now I know you are a huge fan of Wind Waker, Derek. So where do you fall on what they've done to the visuals? Do you like them? Do you think they've enhanced it, or is it a step back from Wind Waker's super cartoonish look?
Well, the environments that they showed off looked really good, I have to say that. But it's the characters that really, I think you can most see that got affected by the cell shading.
Right.
And unfortunately, I can't put a final say on that until I see it in motion. It's in motion, because that's part of the appeal of Wind Waker, is seeing the cartoon in motion, seeing the real-time facial features and all that. So I'm cautiously optimistic, is what I'm sort of feeling here, because it still looks really good.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. Looks really good. Seems to be just as expressive just by that one screenshot of Link, Tetra, and the pot lady. But
I like a pot lady.
Yes, everybody loves the pot lady. She provides a great service.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic is basically what I'm coming to, but the environments look like a great step up.
Yeah.
It's the characters that I'm a little unsure of, but once I see them in motion, I'll either like, oh god, they ruined it, or this looks great.
Yeah, the characters appear to have a more three-dimensional look to them, because the cell shading, basically the cell shading made them look flat, and by removing that, it makes them look by definition almost more three-dimensional. Mm-hmm. And and maybe they're doing that in order to draw a bigger distinction between the original and this one, because the original one, and maybe just to make it look even more HD, for lack of a better word, because Wind Waker still looks good to this day, and that's because it had a very flat look to it, and maybe that's why they wanted to draw a greater distinction between the original version and what they're doing to enhance this one. But what are your thoughts on that, Tom? You like the original Wind Waker, right? Or where do you fall on that whole thing?
Well, the original Wind Waker I liked at first, but as it sort of went on, I kind of felt like it dragged on a bit and lost its momentum. So I kind of lost interest over time, and it was a struggle for me almost to finish it. Like, it took a few months for me to finish Wind Waker. But Derek's talking about the characters, but I'd also be concerned about the environments. What they showed there with the town, you see the mossy roofs and stuff, and you see the town kind of in fog, but that's not as much like a cartoon to me, so I really would like to see the environments in motion too, and wouldn't it be ironic if in 5 years or so that Wind Waker HD got had a dated look to it, while Wind Waker still looked good.
Oh God,
That's actually a really funny way of putting it. Yeah, because a lot of people have described Wind Waker's art style as timeless, and it does hold up super well. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that. I wasn't a huge fan of the game itself, or even I wasn't a huge fan of the art style for the Zelda series, but I can't deny the game looked great, and it still looks super good.
Well, let's just wait and see what the Moblins look like, maybe.
yeah,
Oh, that's a good one because
actually, that's a good point. Yeah,
because
Those really stole the show last time.
I totally agree, especially even like when you defeat them and how the smoke effects popped up and everything.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's all going to translate to this new art style. But yeah, the environments I think do look like a huge improvement, or maybe not a huge improvement, but they do look really good. I think. Now they've also said that they're enhancing, or I think their exact words were, I forget their exact words, but basically they're saying they're enhancing the gameplay. And they didn't say what exactly that means. But they also said before that the game's basically being reborn on the Wii U. So it makes me wonder if they're going to make some pretty significant changes to the game.
I'd love to see another couple dungeons, sort of like that Game Boy Color remake of the first Link on Game Boy, where they just added a dungeon to it.
Oh yeah, where they added the color dungeon to Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because I believe Wind Waker had a couple of dungeons that were cut from the game. It was meant to have more.
That's what I've heard as well. Is that there are a couple cut out, and that is one of the bigger complaints that I've heard about the game, and the ones that I can sort of follow along with is there aren't a lot of dungeons in there, and that's a shame because the ones I do have are really good.
Right.
So if we can get a few more in there, makes the game all the better.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. But my first thought when they said they're going to tighten up the gameplay was that they're going to have to fix a Triforce Peace quest at the end of the game. We had to collect, what was it, like 8?
You had to collect the pieces of the Triforce.
Yes, you had to surf around or you had to sail around in the ocean, right, and basically follow this map to try and find the buried treasure. I think, right, that contained the Triforce pieces.
Yeah.
And even that, as I recall, was improved from the original Japanese version, which was even more tedious. So I'm hoping they're gonna go the full distance and either revamp it completely or maybe make it more interesting. Maybe have objectives you have to complete in order to get the.
Or maybe that's
pieces.
how you get your new dungeons.
There you go. Maybe they're actually in dungeons.
Yeah.
Now, what features would you guys like to see, or what do you think they could change to the game to enhance it? Is there anything in the game about the original games you didn't like that you think could be enhanced, or other features besides dungeons you'd like to see added?
I have an idea.
Go for it, Tom.
Remember how you're on a boat like half the time? How about doing more things on the boat than just being able to stop and search for treasure? How about fishing? How about anything?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Tom, but far more hilariously. I totally agree. I feel like the boat has to be improved.
Okay, how about there's just one button, because it's me, and Link just goes up the front and he says, "I'm on a boat." Even that, I would take. And you can take a picture of it and post it to the Miiverse.
That could be like in Luigi's Mansion, he can cry out for Mario at any time. Why not just dedicate a button to that? I'm on the boat.
That's my biggest gripe.
Sort of thinking that, because there are a lot of complaints about the boat, but they could do something where they take an element from the Phantom Hourglass, where you could use the touchpad to plot out your course.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Because while Tom was talking, I was thinking it'd be cool if they had like an autopilot feature, basically, and that would be a brilliant way of introducing that. Basically, lifting the feature from Phantom Hourglass, where you just draw the route. And then, then your boat follows it. That's a really good idea.
You get Nico, whoever that guy is, and he goes in the boat, maybe.
Yeah, and then since you don't have to worry about figuring out where you're going, you can just focus on fishing.
I think that makes a lot of sense. No, sorry, what were you saying there, Tom?
Well, wasn't it that guy that's in the series through the whole time, and in the train one, he's really old, like that pirate?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so they could either I don't think they would bring him back for this, but
No, Linebeck is his name. He first appeared. Yeah, he first appeared in Phantom Hourglass, and then it was like his great grandson that appeared. Like it was his Linebeck the Third in Spirit Tracks.
Okay.
But I mean, your boat already has a personality. I mean, your boat's already conscious in Wind Waker, so it'd be a pretty easy thing to just have him, do all the piloting for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that'd be a pretty seamless introduction, because especially for me, I know I've told you guys this story before, I'm sure, but I don't think I've told it to the GameXplain viewers. But I hated sailing so much in or you know what? It wasn't even sailing so much in Wind Waker that I hated. I hated using that stupid baton to change the direction of the wind all the time, which was crucial to you had to change the wind direction in order to actually sail at a decent clip to get to where you wanted to go. So I got to the point where I hated doing that baton song so much. I would just sail, 'cause even if the wind was going the opposite direction, I would sail opposing it completely, and I would just make huge turns, weave back and forth, it would take me, I would go
20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes. It would take me half an hour to get anywhere I wanted to go. But I enjoyed that far more than using the baton to change the song again. So,
Andre, did anybody ever tell you that you're really damn stubborn?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good idea of having it on the course. Being able to draw the course out. And I think adding, fishing features would be brilliant. I think that'd be really cool, because that was one of my favorite features in Ocarina of Time, was just relaxing and going fishing. So,
yeah, who doesn't love fishing on a boat?
Exactly.
Trolling, you just go along, drag a line behind you, and
right.
you catch something.
This is all. Yeah. We should be in charge of the Zelda series, guys.
The only problem is, since you mentioned the wind directions, is because of us adding this feature, it sort of lessens the impact of the Wind Waker.
Good.
So, well, what I'm saying is that they might if they do this, they have to come up with new features for it, of what it could do.
Was the Wind Waker what the baton was called?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I don't know what they could do. What else could they do in that game? You could teleport with it.
Yeah. Oh, it's been so long.
I know, I can't remember either.
I need to replay it. I've been meaning to. I just haven't had a chance.
Well, you'll have a chance when it's released in HD.
Yeah.
Koji Kondo comes out on a cruise ship, and orchestrated music starts instead.
There you go.
Now
that would be cool if they did reorchestrate the music for this game.
Oh, that would be a really good idea, actually. I feel like they almost have to. If they're updating the visuals completely, I feel like they should. And I actually was surprised that they're actually updating the game at all. That they're completely redoing the art style and changing the gameplay. And they also confirmed a few features that they are adding, like off-screen play. So they confirmed you can play it on the Gamepad, which probably suggests they're not going to add any radical Gamepad features.
Yeah.
Which might be fine. I mean, I wouldn't have minded having gameplay or Gamepad only features, but I do wonder if it means. I do wonder if they're going to integrate the Tingle Tuner with the Gamepad. I don't know if either of you guys ever tried the Tingle Tuner. Did you have the chance to?
I think I didn't get it till after I did that link cable and stuff.
Okay, yeah. So if you remember,
I had the link cable and tried it once, and it did nothing for me. So
yeah,
I stopped.
I only tried it once or twice, but basically, for those who don't know, you could connect your Game Boy Advance to your GameCube, and it allowed either yourself or a second player to control Tingle, and he could drop bombs anywhere he wanted to by moving a cursor on the screen. And he could do a few other things too. I think he could collect rupees and a couple other things. But he couldn't really do much. It was a very minimal thing, but
it's sort of like the second player mode in Galaxy.
Right, exactly.
Well, I was going to say how bizarre that the original girlfriend mode started with Tingle.
Oh man, that is surprising. But it does seem like the Gamepad would lend itself perfectly to that feature. Although if they do that, either they would have to support a second Gamepad, or that means the primary player would have to play with a non-primary controller using either a Wii Remote or Nunchuck, or a classic controller. And that'd be a little bit weird, I feel like.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it won't have Wii Motion Plus like Skyward Sword.
Right.
I hope not.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, because then they basically have to change the gameplay entirely, like the core combat. So yeah, probably not. But they would
Wind
have
Waker did have really good combat. Like they really made it a lot more dynamic from Ocarina of Time.
Right. Yeah, and I always liked how the notes changed when you hit an enemy several times in a row.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That was my favorite part of the. Actually, that's probably my favorite part of the entire game.
Jeez.
And then one other feature they announced, which isn't a huge surprise, but it will have Miiverse support, which will be useful for people who are stuck in the game. Although they should be using our classic GameXplain videos, because we actually did a few walkthroughs for the game way back in the day that are up on our YouTube channel. And who knows, maybe we'll go back and actually make a full walkthrough. For the HD version. So
I'd love to see you do that just because torture you even more.
God, dude, no kidding, right? But maybe I'm older now, and if they fix some of those parts of the game I hated, maybe I'll appreciate it. Probably not, but maybe I'll appreciate it more. So now, what's interesting is, or what I wonder is, with all these changes, and we don't even know to what extent they are changing the game fully, I wonder what the price is going to be. And I have a feel. Yep, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I think it's gonna be a full price game. If not, maybe at like a very modest discount, maybe like $10 less. Like
50 instead of 60.
Exactly. What do you guys think? I mean, what do you think, and what do you hope it's gonna come in at?
As soon as I saw it, was like $6 because they charged full price for the remake of Ocarina.
Yep, that's what I was thinking too.
So,
and that was a very minimal. I mean, they didn't really change much in that game. They just upgraded the graphics, and that was a full price game.
Added some 3D and fixed the modified the interface.
Yep, that's basically it.
And that's pretty much what they're going to do with this. It seems like for the most part, and yeah, we're going to pay for full price for it.
So, are you in favor of that? I mean, basically. What would you rather see? Would you rather pay full price for a reimagined version of Wind Waker, or would you rather them re-release the original version of Wind Waker, just with purely HD visuals, no enhancements, and maybe like a modest price, like $15 to $20? What would you rather see from? Do you think this is the right way to go about the HD re-releases, or would you rather just see a more true take on the original game?
Personally, I like the fact that they're going full out for this. It shows some dedication because it's really easy to just do an HD conversion and pop it out for put in 3 games, pop it out for $30, and there you go. But the fact that they're showing some effort with this, it makes it seem a little bit more special than just a typical HD re-release.
I prefer the more treatment to the game, like improving a few things. Because if they just sort of updated the graphics or made it HD. And had the exact same look, I could probably just play the old one still and not have to bother with it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with both of those points. I mean, if they're going to... I mean, I would rather play a new take on it than playing the exact same take. Although I am also, though, I forget what the word I'm looking for is. A purist. So I also like having the original games available, too. And I think the perfect compromise would just offer both. Allow the original game, to those who want to play the original game as it was intended, and then offer this new HD version which people can pay full price for. And
so, are you proposing something like Halo Anniversary, where they can switch back and forth between the styles? Or are you thinking more like putting the GameCube version on the to purchase on the Wii U itself? Like to download, I mean.
Right, I'm thinking the latter. Honestly, actually, I feel contrary to how a lot of people feel about Halo Anniversary Edition. I actually didn't think they went far enough with that. I felt like all they did was enhance the graphics, and I'd actually just rather play with the original graphics. I feel like what they should have done is basically reimagine the entire game, enhance the graphics, fix parts of the game that maybe didn't work well in the original, and just offer a new take on the original game. And so, in that sense, that's why I really like what Nintendo's doing here. Is they're upgrading the visuals, they're changing parts of the game, and they're adding new features. And I really think that's a great way of going about it. But by the same token, I would it'd be nice if they offered the original version too, because that did happen, that did come out, and depending on what happens with the HD version, people might actually prefer the original one.
And I can almost see myself totally buying both.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, what Nintendo should do is release the HD version first, and then release the original version later at a lower cost. And that way people are basically double dipping for
No. What they should do is just have have the original Wind Waker included on it,
Bundled in.
and maybe you just unlock it after going through a bit of the new version.
That actually would be the ideal situation.
I don't think you could toggle between the two, though, if they changed some of the gameplay in it. You couldn't do it like how they do it in Knights and Halo.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and I'm
I don't think
totally
so.
fine with that.
Yeah.
It'd just be cool they offered both games, both takes on it. Now, before we wrap things up here, I think you had one more idea, Derek, for the game, right?
I just wanted to mention, actually, Tom was talking about this earlier, that the camera in Wind Waker, you could take pictures of various things, and they could, with Miiverse interaction, you could actually probably post those pictures to the Miiverse, right, Tom?
Right, and maybe, Nintendo could do something fun with it, have sort of contests to take pictures of certain parts in the game, maybe even, like, how Mario Kart 7 had different weekly challenges, maybe just sort of have some sort of challenge with, like, finding a part in the game, taking a picture of it.
That's actually an awesome idea. Now, it'll make perfect sense considering they announced Pikmin 3 is going to have a camera mode where you can take pictures and post it in Miiverse.
Yeah.
That would be... I feel like that has to happen. That's probably going to be one of the new features in the game. Yeah, and I can just imagine, actually aiming with a gamepad. Moving it around like how you do in Nintendo Land with the camera.
Oh, right. Or Game & Wario, which isn't out yet, but you can do that in Game & Wario.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, they have that whole camera. That's right. That's a really
Played
good...
at E3.
That's a really good idea. I think that almost makes too much sense, and that's such a brilliant way of taking advantage of Miiverse. I think that's part of the reason why the New Super Mario Bros. U community is so big, because the game basically pesters you in the game to post to Miiverse, and I feel like going forward these games can take advantage of that, but in a more passive way. Without pestering you, just invite it by allowing you to post like screenshots or something, and show it off to your friends. Maybe that's why they're changing the art style too. Make it a little bit more photogenic, maybe. I don't know, but
Nah.
all right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for our discussion of Wind Waker HD. Stay tuned to our other discussions about the Nintendo Direct games, including how we think the Wii U version of Zelda, the new Zelda coming out, will play. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.